I have a button here and I want to animate the highlighting effect. Let's have a look at how that looks today. So I look at the button component, change the transition to animation. Then I need to click this button, auto generate animations. And now I have to save an asset. I don't like that because this makes it feel very heavyweight. But okay, I do it for now. Now I have to grab the animation window, select the right highlighting animation, and then I can change, let's change the color to blue when it's highlighted. And I also wanted to, in the normal one, I want the button to be a little bit red. That's okay, the animation works, but the workflow is not great. Now let's have a look at the new workflow. In the button component, I go to animation again. But now I can immediately begin animating. I just click edit for the highlight state, brings back up the animation window, but I don't need it. I just change the color for highlight to be blue. And for the normal state, I wanted it to be a bit red. While we're at it, why not make the scale for highlighting just a little bit bigger? Okay, I'm done. The button is already animated and we didn't have any save dialog or anything. Now, how does that work? If we look here in the hierarchy, there's a new button, and if I click this one, we can look at objects that live in the scene and will be saved together with the scene. This includes our 4 animation clips and the animator controller that controls them all. The search has also been improved to be able to search for these types. If the animation view hadn't already been visible, well, when I click an animation, it automatically brings it up. And the same is the case for the controller. Now, what if I want to reuse this button, because I have multiple buttons and they all need to use these animations? Well, I can just drag the button into the project view to make it a prefab. This removed the animations and controller from the scene objects, but they now live as objects inside the prefab itself. This means that I can drag many instances of this prefab into the scene and reuse them. They all use the prefab and they all use the animations. So now that objects can live in the scene, what else can we use this for? Let's have a look at this scene here. We have a lot of objects and they all use the same bricks material. But for the floor and the walls, the material pattern is too large. So let's try to make it smaller. So we increase the tiling in order to make things smaller, but it affects all the objects, and that's not what we want. So let's undo. Instead, now we can click this button, make instance, and now this material is a clone of the original that lives in the scene. I can now tweak the tiling for this one. Let's set it to 10. And it only affected this material on the floor. Now, the plane comes from a plane prefab. And what if I want all the planes to use this tweaked material? Well, I just click apply on the prefab. Now the material lives inside the prefab and is used by all the instances of that prefab. Let's look at a different example. From these columns in the background, let's say that I want one of the blocks from each column to be a little bit darker. I can select the column, make an instance, tweak it to be a bit darker. And now I don't want to apply the prefab because this will make all the cylinders use that one. And I only want to make maybe 3 of them use the darker one. But instead, I can drag the material from the scene into the project view and now I can reuse it as normal.